Lovely Pony, and welcome to My Little Pony What Works Comics Month! In celebration of the comics' 2-year anniversary, I'm going to take a look at certain comics from the My Little Pony comic line, whether they impressed me or pissed me off. And guess which one we're starting off with?
Hold it right there, green boy.
Duh, who said that?
You think you can review this debauchery of the comic book medium without me? How dare you use sad excuse for a stallion? Prepare to be punished with the wrath of 1,000... Whoa, This worked out so much better on paper.
Well, it's not the weirdest way someone's entered my channel.
Thought I might as well make an entrance for something this terrible.
Sorry, didn't catch your name.
I'm Keyframe, Mr. Reason. Looker of point A, point B, and everything in between.
Hey, Mr. Reason is my father's name. Call me Voice.
Okay, nice to meet you, Voice. Sad we had to meet under... these circumstances.
Yeah, and to think Katie Cook wrote the circumstances in question.
Shush, 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 shush. Don't awake the inner rage and disappointment yet. We still have a comic to go through.
You're right. Unusually tall unicorn. Let's dive into My Little Pony Friends Forever number 8 and see what the hell went wrong.
Right. Let's roll intro.
Whoa. Let's try not to completely rip off the guy I take inspiration from.
Aww.
Well, let's start with the cover, and by that stretch, the artwork, because it's one of the few things I do like in this comic.
Now you're speaking my language. For issue 8, we were supplied with 3 variant covers, one being cover A, which is Rarity and Applejack sitting on a bench, Rarity in utter joy, and Applejack showing us the face we will be having after opening this mess of a comic. I do enjoy the coloring and the crisp line art on this cover, and its shading style, obviously digital, resonates to the cover of issue 7 with Luna and Pinkie Pie. You know, the comic we could be reading besides this.
Hey, that's for next time. Focus on the other covers.
Fine, jeez. The other cover we get, the subscription cover, is done in a sepia, hand-colored looking style, reminiscent of the technique used in the original covers. This one is my favorite out of the 3. The amount of detail in every piece of clothing and the saloon is just breathtaking. Plus, I bet I hear a certain orange stallion's wings rising at the Rarity's decorum in this piece. But really, who would get turned on by a simple showgirl western dress? Right, Voice? Voice?
What? Oh, right. Sepia. Lovely sepia.
Ugh, Colts. Anyway, the final cover is the Hastings variant, and it's... Really, it's one of those covers that is a funny little quip all of its own, rather than giving us a glimpse into what we're going into. Sort of like the background pony splash cover from Fim 10. I've noticed this is a common occurrence with the Hastings variants. Look at the issue 7 variant with a complete lack of Luna, issue 6 which had neither Trixie or Dash, or... whatever the hell is going on in the Twilight Armor variant. Really, this was just an excuse to draw some cute CMC. I'm not complaining, but we already had an issue with them in it. Keep them there. But the covers are only the beginning of the artwork. The line work in this issue is done by Andy Price, who you may know for illustrating terrible issues like... well, he's with Katie Cook, who's done utter dreck like... wait a minute. They haven't done anything bad before! That just can't be!
Hey, everyone has at least one bad story in them. Gail Simone had Teen Titans number 27 and 28, Ian Flynn had Sonic the Hedgehog number 178 and 179, and Katie Cook now has today's issue. Anyways, I think we went plenty in detail about the covers, so let's take a look at the story. We open up this comic with Derby the Male Pony, it's canon, delivering a message to the Apple family.
Yeah, what's all this then?
It's called the mail, Granny Smith. I thought you knew that.
Whippersnappers.
Boo! Boo! Please tell me the humor gets better from here. Oh, Luna, no.
Not unless you count the background gags.
Ugh, okay. I need to state this. Background gags, whether they be in an animated show or in a comic, does not make it better. Ditzy and the Doctor could be having a tug-of-war for the sonic screwdriver while Octavia and Vinyl are making out in the background, but it doesn't excuse the main narrative. We are supposed to look and listen to what's on the foreground, at least for our first time reading, and that entices us to read it again and find all the little background jokes. And these writers know this. One of my favorite series in the comics have been the Big Mac mini-arc, which was able to balance a funny narrative with the actions of Big Mac and the background gags of his inadvertent effects on the other ponies.
You know, maybe if they read the comic before this one... Sorry, jumping ahead. But you can tell my rage towards this mess doesn't bode well when the previous comic knew what it was talking about when it comes to humor.
I call it Philly Vanilli syndrome. When you make something that hits every single mark so well, and then the next thing you produce is just... why? And you know what's the great thing, ladies and gentlemen colts? We're still on the first frame!
Well, avoiding the lack of humor, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of it, the oranges from the West Coast, let's call them the Valencias since the comic doesn't give them a name, want to help expand the Apple business by selling their product out west and have them come for a visit. Applejack, being the business-savvy pony of the family, thinks that could actually help them rebuild the barn. Again, geez, these guys go through more barns than the Teen Titans go through home bases.
Hey, at least it gives us one of our only genuinely funny visual gags in this comic.
Cut!
God, I love that.
Anyways, Applejack says she'll catch the next train to Applewood. Kind of weak pun there, but I ain't complaining. The next day, and she tells Granny Smith to send a note back saying AJ is on her way to the West Coast. Remember that. It's gonna hurt later.
After another moment of the CMC being stupid, seems to be a running thing in these writers' comics, we see Applejack go to Rarity to ask for a duffel bag, and after hearing where AJ is going, we get this lovely face. Okay, I will give it to Price. His biggest strong suit is his expressions. He doesn't stick to this show's sometimes restrictive style, and we get gems like this. Oh, if only the dialogue was as good as the mouth it was coming from.
And this is where the main problem of the comic starts.
You mean it hasn't already?
Nope. Lack of humor is one thing, but forcing yourself into the plot without you needing to be there is one of the laziest excuses to have a story. And considering My Little Pony has done this twice before, once in the show and once before in the comics, you can tell we're going to have a bad time. And I like the one time the show did it.
How many pages is this comic anyway?
22. And we're only on page 3.
Well, everybody, that was a review of Friends Forever number 8. He's the voice of reason. I'm Keyframe. See you later.
Oh, no you don't. We're sitting through this wreck of a comic for the greater good.
Fine. But I'm doing this my own way. Let's get through this, Wiona. So Rarity basically invites herself onto AJ's trip, even though AJ states that this is just a quick business deal. They do know that Rarity is a business owner herself, right? And understands these sort of quick practices?
Oh, they do. Halfway through the comic, but we'll get to that in a bit. In the meantime, Rarity and Applejack board the train to Applewood with a stopover in Salt Lake City. Rarity says they should go see the biggest ball of cashmere yarn, which is within walking distance of the train. Applejack could easily say no here and stay on the train, but I guess Rarity convinces her that the cashmere is made from goat fur.
I guess I like goats. Can I pet them? Will they be offended? They're adults. This is not what adults say. The dialogue in Look Before You Sleep wasn't this childish. A third grader can write dialogue better than this! Anger is subsiding. For now. For now.
Well, that bit of dialogue is looked over as Rarity takes a nap while Applejack tries to come up with a business strategy for the Valencias. Rarity commenting she loves a good market analysis as she nods off for a few hours. Next scene!
They are both enraptured by the skyscraper-sized ball of yarn, and they go to the attraction. Applejack takes a nap out of boredom, what I would like to do right now, and has a dream of being a rodeo champion. For some reason. You think it'd be a nightmare or something because of how stressed she is about the matters at hand, but that would show character motivation, and obviously this comic doesn't want to do squat but make Applejack seem like the bad mare. So after their little nap, they realize that they're late for the train. They bicker and eventually arrive. To the train to Seattle. Applejack, of course, is rightfully pissed. Okay, what the buck is wrong with Rarity in this comic? This seems more like it was going to be an apple pie comic, but they realized, wait, we already did one, and just inserted Rarity. Rarity acts like a completely blind optimist for 2/3 of this bucking issue. I would have some sort of understanding if this was the writer's first time writing for Rarity, because admittedly, Rarity is a hard character to write for. But Katie already wrote her in issue 3!
You alright?
Just lovely. Go on.
Okay, more ciders in the fridge if you need, never mind. Anyway, it turns out the next train to Applewood... Anyone else having a craving for bacon?
You sick fuck.
Anyway, the next train won't leave until the next morning. Of course, Rarity, being her oh-so-helpful self, says that while in Seattle, they should go see the ski and jumping boat thrill show. She asks Applejack if she can see her marketing strategy, but Applejack storms off because of the delay.
She really is a nice, lovely pony most of the time. She's just under a lot of stress.
Gee, I wonder why that is!
Cider?
No, I need to be sober for this review.
Better man than me.
So they go to the thrill show and... Wait, are those ponies riding on sharks?
Out of all the things going on in this story, that's the thing you question? You're lucky I'm sussed.
Anyway, the thrill show ends with the boat leaping over the stadium. Applejack tries to hurry back with Rarity, reminding her this is a trip for business and not leisure. It's a shame their taxi was apparently in a crash zone.
This happens every show.
Then why does the taxi park there?
No, boys. Logic is no longer a factor here.
But it doesn't make sense.
Shush, honey. It's gone.
But...
Shush.
So, with their taxi destroyed, it can't get any worse, right? Frickin' Murphy's Law.
So for once, Rarity has a good idea in this comic, and they decide to take shelter from the storm. Then this happens. Will these accommodations do, Miss Prissy Pants?
That moniker was uncalled for, Applejack, but I forgive you because you're cranky wanky.
Okay, that's it!
Now, voice, there's no reason to snap.
No, I need to say this. Throughout the entire comic, Rarity has been insufferable. To really get a clue of what I was getting into before reviewing this comic, I watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, what the premise of this comic was based on. And you know what? I liked it. Yeah, the movie's incredibly dated, but it still has a lot of laughs and a lot of heart. And the thing that made it worthwhile is John Candy's performance. He's one of the most lovable characters that just so happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time with Steve Martin's character. The big thing that made him so likable was that none of the incidences were his fault. Even if they were, he'd be quick to apologize. Rarity, on the other hoof, is the cause of the problem. She was shoehorned into the story, added very little to the plot outside of procrastination, and she doesn't apologize once. Somewhere out there, John Hughes and John Candy are rolling in their graves because of this character betrayal.
Are you done now?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good, because we're only halfway through.
Son of a...
Anyway, after Applejack does this, she gets Rarity all wet. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter, you shippers.
In a moment of sheer luck, while Applejack is figuring out her business plan, she's got a long way to go, Rarity manages to find a plane in the barn.
Wow, that was almost as convenient as the time I needed $1 for the bus and found it on the floor. Along with a map to buried treasure. And the Fountain of Youth.
Anyway, the girls manage to take off, and they do what every Rare Jack story has, not counting simple ways. Bickering!
You can make a bucking drinking game for how many times they bicker and tease one another in this comic.
Please don't.
You shut up!
I'm not helping you out because you won't learn.
Anywho, they're bickering about how Applejack did not plan the actual meeting. This is the first time in the entire comic that Rarity shows any kind of intelligence and business savvy. This, the man that supplies costumes to the biggest stars in Equestria, tailored the wedding gown to the Princess of Love, and so much more, took this long to show any sign of business intelligence.
And then they crash into Mount Monument. The end? Please?
You wish. No, they survive. Sadly. And find out that since they are on Mount Redundant is redundancy redundance, they've been flying the wrong way. Since they don't want to end up as Luna's living boogers, they float down using their scarves.
Well, they make it to a western town to find a ride. Didn't know the pony version of South Dakota was near a desert.
Oh, heck yeah it is. Like how the ponified version of Florida is near the Alps.
Is that true, or is that the alcohol talking?
Whatever you want it to be, sweetheart.
I'm going to ignore that. So the girls meet Sam Elliott Pony, and he's going to give them a ride to San Francisco.
Wait. That can't be Sam Elliott Pony.
Why?
You can understand what the hell he's saying.
Well, I can make it so he sounds mumbly.
You on San Francisco. Applewood just a quick job up there. If you want me to job, I'll be glad to take you.
Much better. Now we just need to sit back and enjoy a quiet ride to the train station.
Oh, we may get to see a few of these landmarks from the windows. Ooh, we'd be passing Equestria's largest.
I said, quiet ride. You know, some pony somewhere is clopping to that.
I'll just put the Brassers logo away. But all's not well on this trip, for it turns out the cart is being attacked by a splash page you have to turn on its side in order to read. Okay, to be fair, the splash page isn't that bad. It is thankfully on an odd numbered page, that way when you turn the page, the panels are back to normal. It's just a little frustrating. But that's only a nitpick to what comes up next.
Anyway, we learned from this wonderful splash page that these bulls have the creative names like Jersey Shore, Angus McSteer, Buffalo Bull, and King Longhorn. Anyone else craving steak, smothered in barbecue sauce and a baked potato on the side?
Says the pony who's disgusted at me for mentioning bacon.
Shut up.
So, the coach is being attacked by a gang of steer. When did we start reading a Cowboys of Moon Mesa comic? And Applejack has had enough of this bull. Hey, it's a better pun than anything said in this comic.
Stop being so meta-muffin shipper. How in Equestria do you own a successful business? In the past day I've seen you be the most unprofessional fluffhead I ever known. You must be good at making your persnickety little dresses, because I don't see a lick of business savvy in you. Stating the problems with your narrative does not make them go away or be funny. It just makes them annoying and desperate. You know what you're doing is wrong, and you're doing it anyway.
And what's your savvy business proposition? To expand Apple Farms to Applewood? I haven't seen any work on this fancy business plan you keep on talking about.
Okay, yes, that is true, but referring back to Applejack's statement, you have been nothing but a burden. When you try to help, you make the situation worse. To quote SpongeBob, yes, I'm quoting SpongeBob, I think you've helped quite enough today.
How far are we?
5 pages left, not counting the Winona comic, which, by the way, was very cute.
Fine, let's jet this biz. So Rarity and Applejack make it to California. And Applejack decides that before they go to their destination, you know, the thing she's been aiming for this entire bucking story, she and Rarity go to Winnieland! And it's cute.
Yeah, sure, let's pad out this comic for another page and a half. It's not like this comic has had enough padding already. Hell, Rarity had a dream about shoulder pads earlier.
Would you rather it be padded out with bickering?
Good point. So, they make it to the Valencias and they didn't expect her to come. Granny Smith misread the note. It turns out the oranges were on the East Coast.
Oh, east? I thought you said west.
The entire reason for AJ to go to Applewood was a complete waste of time.
I will kill it!
Where were we? Oh yeah.
This comic sucks! I can legitimately say this is the worst story I've read from the comics thus far. And I read the Fluttershy micro-series, and I read the Pirates arc, I even read Fred Forever #1, and this makes these look good. This comic literally states at the end that its main intention was to waste your time. No lesson to learn, nothing to gain, just a waste of paper. Yes, the colors, the artworks, and the expressions are well done, and it has one of my favorite covers from the entire series. But you know what? It's like when Jim Lee did the artwork for All-Star Batman and Robin. Good artwork in a comic will only get you so far. It is a comic book. A mixture of visuals and a written narrative. There needs to be a balance, and both sides must be at their best. And in this issue, the story did not pull its weight at all. What hurts the most is that this is a talented duo, and I, along with everyone, knows that Cook is a fantastic writer and story creator, and some pony I look up to in the comic world. At the end of the day, everyone makes mistakes and deserves criticisms. And I just hope this was one of Cook's occasional off days.
The conflict is shoehorned in, rarity is at her most unlikable, the padding is unnecessary, and having watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, this comic doesn't even deserve to be called an homage or a parody to that 80s classic. I understand people will disagree with us. If you like the comic, cool, more power to you. And trust me, this is still not the worst MLP comic personally or structurally. Those belong to the Fluttershy Micro and PrinceWhateverer #1, respectively, for me. But this was a chore to get through with the bad puns, bad storytelling, and bad decisions. Oh yeah, we'll be seeing the steer in the main comic. Yippee skippy.
Mazel tov.
Key, did you clean out my fridge while we were reviewing the comic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have I been a naughty little man?
Yeah, I'm taking you home.
Oh, come on, Voicey. Let's have some fun.
I'm the voice of reason, and, I'll see you for Friends Forever #7.
And Keyframe. Point A. Point B. Whatever.